Good evening, everybody. You know that if you are really good with your forecasting and negotiating skills, you'll probably be able to end up with 5 or 10% more profits when you're selling items in business. And you'll probably be able to save 5 to 10% or even more when you're purchasing things to resell in business. When you add those together, that adds up to about 20% of improved situation for you. And sometimes that is a big, big difference in a small business to be able to earn an extra 20% just by using skills. Well, I believe that's the case after 65 years in business, and that's why we're going to talk about it tonight in this webinar. And I want to join you for being with us, or thank you for being with us, and we can all find some win-win solutions by doing that. My name is Steve Carver. I'm speaking with you from my home office and studio in Dunn, North Carolina. It's my presentation, number 1151, and I'm so glad that you're with me on my journey that continues through entrepreneurship for 65 years, and let me join you on your journey. I want to tell you right up front, I'm not a lawyer, a tax attorney, or CPA. I'm a fellow that's been in business and continues to be in business today. Selling products on the internet and services to people and teaching as well. Made a lot of mistakes through the years, did a lot of things right, still in business, hadn't written a bad check yet. So I want to tell you the first piece of advice I'd like to give to you is always get a second or third opinion when you're making an important decision, or stay in tune with these webinars from people that might be able to help you get to the right answers. We're sponsored tonight by the Small Business Center at James Front Community College in beautiful downtown Kenansville, North Carolina, over in Duplin County. And our director for this center is Joey Wynn, who is a fantastic director who works extraordinarily hard for all of her clients. So I want to tell you that if you are in touch with your local small business center, that's a good thing. If you don't know how to get in touch with them, if you'll let me know where you are and you'd like for me to help you set up an appointment, I'll be glad to do that. Joey has a great assistant in her work. Also, their office is over in Warsaw on Penny Branch Road. Give them a call at 910-659-6008. Set up an appointment and go in and have a visit, or maybe she'll come and see you. If Joey's not there, Lynn will be talking to you. Lynn Murphy, she's a wonderful assistant to Joey, and she can help you get set up and answer a lot of questions as well. After the seminar tonight, you will get through the email a survey. It'll take you at least 60 seconds to fill it out, and we really would appreciate you clicking on the dots on that survey and sending it back in. They rely on that for funding and to make sure that we keep the program up to date. Tonight is number 3 in a 5-part series on enhancing different skills. After tonight, we'll have 2 more sessions, one next Thursday night on the 12th and the following on the 19th. And that'll wrap up this series. And you certainly can qualify for certificates by attending all the sessions and maybe doing some extra homework as well. And then in January, we'll crank up with 2 more series to get started on 7-part webinars that cover about 100 topics, and will absolutely give you just a whole wealth of information in how to start your business or jumpstart it and improve it, enlarge it. An email, hopefully you've already got it. If not, I'll resend them to you tomorrow if I have your email address. Study guides that cover tonight's talking points, 40 drill skills, nonverbal communication skills, fair market value, and body language skills and negotiating. So these are good study guides. I encourage you to file them away in your business files, and when you get a chance, read through them. Keeping up with our attendance, we've had a good attendance here on Thursday nights with several folks, and some of you have attended both the lessons so far, and indeed attended the rest of them. We'd certainly love for you too to be able to earn your certificates. So keep up with the lessons, and we'll get the certificates to you. Our forecasting and negotiating topics are all about the end result to have win-win solutions and for you to have less stress and more profits in your business. That's why it's so important. That's why we're talking about it tonight. I want to remember that things will get tough and the roads will get bumpy sometime. I've had several of you in the last 3 weeks tell me that you've had some really challenging times, and I understand how that works. I've had some of myself. But I want to remember you do have options. Look yourself right in the mirror, talk to your own face, and say to yourself, I can back up or I can back off. I can turn loose. I can push forward. Maybe I should just be grateful and thankful and hold on tight, and so tight your knuckles turn white. But mainly I want you to know to hold on to your values. It's perfectly okay to be concerned and worried maybe even, but to know that if you hold on to your values, talk with a good friend, and plan for your own empowerment. Plan for your way to move forward. It will work. Find the inspiration that you need. Attend these webinars and listen to what we say and ask questions, and we'll do all we can to help you. In your email, you have several homework challenges to encourage you to do some YouTube videos, your mission, vision, promise statements, sharing photos of you and your business, putting them on Facebook, looking and studying the 40 drill skills and paraphrasing them in your own words. Look at these 7 A words and write sentences using those, send those in, and that will improve your homework status and your ability to win certificates. 2 actual real challenges. One is to write out a negotiating outline for purchasing a home and also for purchasing a vehicle. We'll talk about those tonight, so pay attention good and give you all the information you need as to how to do that. And also we're going to talk about pricing next week and how to build an advertised sale price for items that you'll be wanting to sell in your business, so that not only do you end up with the profits you need, but also have room to negotiate and even discount if you need to. Thinking about what can we do as individuals to help us stay on a good positive track in our business. And the key thing is to maintain a good mindset, how we're thinking, a positive mindset that is helping us keep our radar on to look for the things to help us grow. It's really important that every day we give a serious thought to what am I doing and what steps can I take to improve my situation. It's an ongoing process and we need to do it. In all my classes, I try to bring some words, new words to our vocabulary to be using them, which I know that are helpful in our way of thinking, as well as when we're talking with people. So in this course, I'm using the 7 A words, and we are going through them now 1 week at a time. And the first week, we used the word attitude and the 2 words, the word attitude and the words atmosphere, and talked about how they affect us in our business. Tonight, our word is achievement. And that achievement is being determined to set a course with a plan to complete daily, weekly, and monthly tasks, reach our sale goals, and maintain our appointments. If we're not have a mindset to help us achieve achievement, you probably not going to get there, because it is a way of holding ourselves accountable and recording the progress as we go along. If we're just drifting along and doing one thing when it feels good and something else some other time, and not trying to stay with a plan, it's going to be real hard to reach any real achievements in your business. So keep this in mind. Use the word achievement and put it to work in your daily activities. Also, the word attentiveness comes into play tonight. Attentiveness is all about carefully watching things and paying attention to how things affect other people. Paying attention is the key, and being very concerned about the needs of others. If you have good attendance, you're absorbed, you're engrossed, you're really focused on things, and you're all ears. So, you're here tonight, you're being attentive, so I give you a good pat on the back and a blue ribbon, because that's part of what that we need to do. Stay attentive, and that'll be fine. All right, everybody, get your fingers out over on your keyboard, on on your pad on your phone. Let's do a little bit of chatting here and seeing what we can remember from previous lessons. So, what is the only pricing value term that describes the legal monetary value or worth of an item, tangible or intangible, in the marketplace? Over on the chat board, type it in. What does the letters FMV stand for? That's an important term helping us determine what values are. David's already typed in what he thinks is correct, and David, you're 100% right. Fair market value is very important. And by the end of this course, we will use that term in every class, and it's one I want you to remember and to be able to keep up with the definition of it, because it has everything to do with profit and loss in a small business. Fair market value is the correct answer. And a question that would come from last week when we were talking about cash flow, is it important to have a cash or credit reserve available at all times for your business? That's simply a yes or no. Do you think it's important to have a reserve, a rainy day account, to help you in case of an accident or an unexpected expense? And the answer is definitely yes, a great big yes. So we want to have a plan B if we get in a tight money-wise. Now, using our credit card sometimes is a must. Sometimes that's the only reserve account or way that you have to go. There are a lot of different kind of credit cards. You can have credit cards with banks or home equity loans or personal credit card. Small business banks that can offer you a credit line, and then some large banks can offer you a credit line with a credit card. But I want to ask you, which type of credit card or credit line do you think will have the highest credit? I mean, the highest interest rate? Which one do you think will have the highest interest rate? A, B, C, D, or E? I'm asking you this because the one that has the highest interest rate is the one that a lot of us is the only kind that we have to use. So I want to encourage you to look at different types of credit lines that you can get to have much lower interest rates than the personal credit cards. Yes, a personal credit card sometimes can be very helpful in your business, and I will encourage you to have some type of credit lines that you can use. But if you're using your personal credit card, you certainly don't need to be paying them off as soon as that bill comes in, if you can, and search for other types of credit cards that you can get much better rates on. And by having your credit card tied to your bank's credit line is a very good way to get much better rates on that. So I'll keep that in mind. Evelyn, glad to have you joining us tonight. We're getting started, and we'll certainly answer any questions that you have. You are invited to raise your hand with your flag, or just turn your mic on and ask me questions as we go along. Or you can go over to your chat board and type in questions, and I'll try to answer them at the end of the program, or if I don't have a chance to do it tonight, we'll do it tomorrow by email. So make sure you give me your email. Mary, yours and Evelyn's email addresses aren't showing up on the screen. So if you don't mind, go to the chat board and log in there with your name and your email address to make sure I can see any information after the program tonight. Okay, negotiating and forecasting. Big subjects, and maybe we don't have that crystal ball that we can hold in our hand. Maybe we don't know how to read the tea leaves, but these two skills can have a lot to do with increasing your sales with much higher profits and a whole lot less stress. So lean back and enjoy tonight. But let some of this soak in, and it can really, really help you in your business. Our goal is to earn more profits with better skills. So business management skills is the way we move forward. And forecasting our future business needs is a big deal, because those business needs represent business opportunities, but they also represent forecasting the things that can go wrong with old Murphy's curveball sometime. Forecasting will help you, and I'll show you tonight, figure out how negotiations can play out, and you'll be able to come out in a better position by using the tips that we talk about tonight. And of course, we want to earn more profits as we use the better skills. So that's what our topics are all about tonight. Negotiating for the lowest price possible from buying. Of course, we want to buy below fair market value. And then when we're selling, we want to negotiate to end up with the highest prices that we can. Excuse me. Almost cough and sneeze at the same time. So, yeah, when we're selling, being able to negotiate goes a long, long way to help us end up with more, having more money at the end of the deal. The tips and the strategies that we talk about tonight, you can put them into play in lots and lots of different situations. So again, the goal is to end up with more money, more profits by having better skills. One of the handouts that's been sent to you is all about the 40 drill skills. The handout lists 40 different tips and strategies and methods that you might use to improve your situation and to enhance your business skills. So I'm glad to send that to you, and I want you to look at them. There's a video that you can watch with each one of them that'll really help you. I have a lot of students in the classes that take that and use it almost as a book, always referring to it, and they tell me often how helpful that they are. But one of the skills, number 35, is asking you about an informed and structured forecasting is the key and the very best way to avoid what? Being informed and structure your forecasting will help you avoid what? 4 different major things, and they are curveballs, bad luck. Bad luck can come your way if you hadn't forecasted that it may be on the way and hurt you. And that will cause pitfalls, which may make you stumble and lose your business. Sometimes they're that serious, especially when a business is just getting started. None of us want unpleasant surprises. And if you have done a good job structuring your forecasting, you'll cut those down to a bare minimum. Cut out all of them that you can. And as you cut out unexpected surprises, by golly, for sure, you're going to be cutting out a lot of unexpected expenses, and that's definitely what we want to do. So again, let's improve our game. And there's no reason to wait for it. I don't know any reason that you wouldn't want to go ahead and start now, figuring out a way that you can do better forecasting. I'm not going to give you a crystal ball, but I am going to tell you that you can work and study and think and do some basic considerations and start becoming a very good small business forecasting executive, and I think it will help you just a lot. Some folks have told me that I'm afraid of forecasting, Steve. I just don't know what I'm doing, and I don't think there's any way in the world that I can know today what's going to be going on tomorrow. Well, you can't bet $1 million on it, but I'll tell you that you're not wasting your time. And some folks say I'm wasting my time forecasting. And those are the folks that are going out of business in a hurry. It's not wasting time. Some folks say, well, if I'm sitting around trying to figure out what's going on, that's distracting me from what's actually in front of me today that I ought to be paying attention for. I understand that argument. And you might say it hurts my flexibility because it's taken away of what's actually in front of me today. I understand that, but I also tell you that that's not the right way to thinking. Forecasting is not a negative thing. It is the right planning process that helps you manage effectively. So maybe you hadn't considered how you can make forecasting a part of your normal process of making decisions and doing business, but you're really doing it in your personal life all the time, and we need to transfer that way of thinking into your business life as well. Collaboration with people that are knowledgeable and have experience is a good way to get your forecasting skills. You hadn't been here before, maybe this business is brand new to you. You got a lot of fears about it. Well, let me tell you, make a habit of getting good information from folks who do have experience and can help you kind of put the structured forecast plan in business. I am embarking the first of the year, if the plans go right with what I've been negotiating with some folks this past month, maybe in the biggest negotiating deal that I've ever done, or the second largest. It looks like it's going to work out good, and I've used a lot of what we're talking about tonight in that negotiating process. But I'm headed into some uncharted territory, even for Steve, and I'm looking forward to the challenge, even though I'm a little anxious about it. So I'll be putting these practices to place myself, and looking forward to it, because I want to tell you that spot on forecasting, spot on, that is being right on the target and focusing on your forecasting skills, will help you sell more items and close more good deals than anything else that I could recommend that you do. Forecasting is not just about the weather. Hey, Corey, glad to have you with us tonight. Look forward to talking with you a little later maybe. But forecasting is not just talking about the weather, not at all. Forecasting is all about small business and what you're doing in your business. And whichever one it is, I want to tell you that forecasting brings into play planning for your seasonal issues. And here we are just after Thanksgiving and just before Christmas. And this is the easiest time for me to use an example how important seasonal issues are in every small business. People think different during these 6 or 8 week period between Thanksgiving and New Year's. People are doing resolutions and spending money to help for tax reasons one way or the other, or making those purchases for the end of the year, or gift giving. It's a big deal. Seasonal in every business is a big deal. And I will ask you, what are you doing to help your business with the seasons? I spent the last 2 weeks putting together videos and new web pages all about promoting business for the seasons in my business, which is selling farm equipment implements, and encouraging people to buy their husbands some nice presents and such as that. So that's really important. But staff and training needs are really important for forecasting, looking forward, because maybe you've got a big deal coming, maybe you've got a new product line coming, and you will need to staff up and train your staff to get it done. If it's the season that's coming your way, have you forecasted what stock levels you need and how many turnovers that you're planning for? If you don't have the right stock on hand, or you have it coming in a certain way so that you don't get overloaded and you don't get run out, you achieve that with your forecasting skills and the way that you order. That ties hand in glove with cash flow. The more products you've got coming in to sell, the more cash you needed to buy it, and the more cash flow you're going to have coming in to do it. Very helpful in how are we going to use that. So as we talked about last week about different cash flow situations can be really, really important. What are the new items in the marketplace that you could add to your business, or the new services that you could add to your photography business, Corey? What's new and exciting that maybe you need to get up on the front of the wave and take advantage of, and do the forecasting as to when the best seasons is to get your information out there. And targeting certain customer groups, that's a big forecasting issue. Spending your time and effort focusing and sending your promotions to the right groups. Because let me assure you, we cannot be all things to all people, but we have to be everything to some people. And those some people in your right targeting groups will become your raving fan customers to keep your business alive for years to make that happen. So negotiating opportunities that are headed your way, we need to forecast that they're coming and to be prepared. That's what we'll talk about later. If you're not into forecasting, this is a sign that will be in the front of your business pretty quickly. Maybe you won't even have to put a sign up. Maybe you'll just go out of business. So not to scare you, but just to be very frank here, forecasting the future and planning, having your business plan that's helping you be ready for what's coming your way is a key factor for not going out of business. It's just a big deal. So I'm tying the word forecasting to the word negotiating. They go hand in glove together. Because after 65 years in business, I can tell you that negotiating is just not something that pops up like a whack-a-mole thing. Negotiations, have a good idea usually when you don't have the opportunity to talk turkey with a customer or to work out a negotiation, a deal, or a contract, or close a good sale. And procrastinating and not preparing yourself for that negotiation is the exact opposite of forecasting. One hand, procrastinate, let's just wait and see what happens. Or the other hand, hey, let's forecast what the opportunities are and to put myself in the best position to be successful. I want to tell you that you can successfully steer, predict the offers that are coming your way. You can feel confident and really help you have a good projection of how the negotiations will flow and go. Big ones and little ones. As I mentioned earlier, I'm right in the middle of this right now with a very large one in my life. And it's just coming home that I know because of what I've been through in the last several months, you can predict how the negotiations will go and flow if you give it some thought and plan for it. Let me ask you, let me give you an example. When you go in the store at the convenience mart, you see the tobacco rack and the snacks racks and the other racks, convenience store racks for merchandise in there. Every time you see this, I want you to remember that this business operator is forecasting. He has forecasted the needs of his customers. And merchandising is all about forecasting, putting the right products at the right place. And we have to do that. That's part of doing right. And when you see this, the next thought I want to come into your mind is upselling. Upselling. Because with good upselling, you're going to stack your profits. You're going to increase your sales over and over and over on high profitable items. That is the focus of forecasting and putting the right products, merchandising-wise, in the right place to bundle sales, to improve impulse items. Whatever type of business you're in, it's important that you figure out a way to do upselling and make it work for you. So very important for you. 3 words, by the way, are the 3 most important words to help all of us in business have more upsells and more cross sales. Being able to say, and by the way, I've got this and I've got that, or would you like to add this to your purchase, is the automatic way to start improving your sales volume, profits, and long-term customer satisfaction. Because when you're helping that customer satisfy all their needs, they're going to appreciate it and come back to see you. So important. So, by the way, let me ask you, all of you that's got your keyboards there, let's go to the chat board. And if you would type in, by the way, and then type in the words upsell. By the way equals upsell. Please type that in. It will really help you remember it. And I really want you to figure out a way to have more upsells in your business. Yeah, how about typing that in for me there? By the way, and then upsells. Because by typing it in, it will help you remember it and help you be able to use it. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate you jumping right on that. By the way, I've got this, and by the way, why don't you add this to your purchase? It is so easy to improve your sales, but you know what? You can't have upsells and use by the way if you hadn't forecast and have it available so you've got it there in your merchandising skills to be able to say that to your customer. So to achieve upsells and to be able to say, by the way, it takes forecasting to have the products on hand and ready to sell. It's all about that. We need to look forward as far as we can to enjoy those benefits. Now, maybe in your business, you're not selling products. You may be like Corey in the photography business, and indeed, he is selling finished photos and albums and slides and images. No doubt he's selling all that. But first, he's selling time. Like me doing this work, I'm selling time. And selling time for money is takes a different way of thinking than selling products. A lot of us hopefully will be able to sell time and also have products and be able to use some different factors with all of these to make that happen. And we'll try to be doing that. Hey, Evelyn, glad to have you on board with us tonight. Thank you for being with us. So when we're forecasting and thinking of selling time for money, what is the most important tool that you have? What do you consider the most important item you need to think about with your forecasting to help your business be sustainable? And the answer is very easy. The calendar is your most important forecasting tool because you need to plan and fill in blanks for appointments to make everything in the world come to play for you. And if you're not looking at your calendar and using that as an effective tool, it's going to be very hard to put a business plan together. Your calendar helps you meet your business plan, helps you meet your budget. So I'm working right now on the webinars I'll be giving all through 2025 and trying to book the events on the right day so that everything makes sense and it'll be convenient for the students that are coming on board as well as the Small Business Center. So I'm working my calendar every day. I know exactly what I mean when I say that. So if you are in the business of selling time for money, then I want you to think about, let's look at this calendar and figure out what I'm going to be doing on certain days. Now, I'll tell you that I want your business plan to be working 4 days a week and 4 weeks a month. So really, someone that's selling time for money needs to meet your budget needs in a 16-day per month calendar. So that's why it's so important that you flag those dates, determine how much cash flow you can generate on certain dates, and then go to work filling up your schedules to help you end up making the money that you need each week to get there. So actually put money values in. Why do you do this? Why am I looking forward and adding up the dollars? Because let me tell you, if your business plan is structured as it should be, you will know up front how much money you need to generate per week, which will tell you how much money you need to generate per day. So as you're looking at your calendar, let's try to plug in the appointments and our work schedule that will help us generate those needs. And it'll come very evident to you very quick. When you put it on paper and you look at it like this, as to you need to move forward, you need to get serious with your planning, with your forecasting, and with your marketing to generate the needs you need to stay in business. So it's just not what comes my way or come my way. It's what kind of work you're doing to bring the right clients with the right money on the right days. So forecasting risk is a major deal. You know, forecasting money coming in is great and it's imperative. But forecasting risk, that is things that'll take that money out of here, is just as important, and we need to do that. So I'm going to encourage you to list down all the items that you can think about that are risk to your business, things you need to be afraid of happening, and what you can do to improve the situation. List them by categories. And anything that you know of, let's see what we can do about eliminating that, because as you do that, you'll be able to, one at a time, reduce your risk through good forecasting. So let me use an example, the risk of having a fire. Of course, fires happen all the time, especially when you are trying to cook your turkey on your deck with a gas machine. Fires happen. It's the time of people with their fireplaces and wood-burning stoves and the gas lobs going awry. So this is the fire season. So in business, that's a big deal too. So what are the risk management tools that we might use to keep fire from eating us alive? Well, first of all, it's not, see what's down at the bottom of the list here? Insurance, of course, is important. But the way to keep your insurance payment as low as possible is to use common sense with your risk management tools and with your forecasting. So employee training, safety signs, having extinguishers in place, making sure you careful storage for your materials, just clean housekeeping, maybe a sprinkler system, and then insurance. Because usually when I talk with entrepreneurs about what is your best risk management tool against fires, people say insurance, and that should be your last. There's so many things that we can do with it. Pretty much every type of risk through forecasting to lower that insurance policy, because if you've done a good job with all the things above insurance here, your insurance policy will probably be cut in half. That's why it's so important. And with every risk, you can do things like that. Steve, I hadn't been there. I don't understand all this. This is new to me. I'd just be guessing, and that's right. Let's just admit it, that's right. But by golly, you can talk with folks that have been there and done that or are still doing it and get good advice. For example, anything related to insurance, an independent insurance agent can give you a whole list of risks. Someone that's been in your business before or similar businesses, or folks like me that's been in a lot of businesses, can give you lots of advice that may help you lower your insurance costs, but more importantly, lower your risk factors. So thank you for being here tonight. That means you're listening and your heart and your ears are open to receiving information. Keep that plan. Always be ready and willing and proud that you're smart enough to go get some advice when other people are willing to help you and share it with you. Things are changing. Here we go. You know what? It's not going to be 2024 in just a few days, right? It's going to be 2025. A new year, a new president, new Congress, new opportunities, new seasons. So things are always changing, and our marketing and our strategy to get there have to be changing all the time. I'll be 78 years old in January, and been in business since I was 12 years old when I started with my daddy, and I cannot even begin to mention how many changes, big changes, have occurred during these 65 years. And I am sure that we're having more changes each new year than we've had in the past. So, it's kind of like riding an elephant. It's not like riding a horse. You can steer a horse and stop it and start it. But sometimes in my business, it feels like I'm riding an elephant. Because if I can just manage to sit up there, I'm doing a good job, because I can't stop him and I can't steer it sometimes. And lots of times in business, you'll get that feeling. But if you've got good forecasting skills and you've got good negotiating skills, it'll make even a ride on an elephant go a whole lot better for you. So just keep that in mind. And let's look forward to the new year and new opportunities. And of course, there's going to be new challenges and new risks that come forward. But we don't be forecasting every day. The seasons, the calendar, competition, maybe what we can do with truckloads. Maybe we can do some layaway plans to help our business. We don't have impulse buyer items that we can have up. We don't have to be doing some staff training and changing our marketing all the time, because the goal of forecasting, David, the goal of forecasting is for you to have the right product, the right quantity, style, and sizes, have it in the market at the best time that you can get the highest price for it, and that you were able to purchase it at the lowest price, because that's going to give you the very best profit potentials. But remembering, we've got to tie in our risk management to make sure at the end of the selling season, if we've got some product left over, that we can liquidate it and get our money out of it. So how does this all start? It doesn't just start with the advertisement. Making all this happen, forecasting what's going to happen to you in 2025 is more than just having a really good ad in the paper. Forecasting starts a long time. Let me give you a quick example of forecasting. Now, we've just seen pumpkins everywhere in every market, and they're still out there. And those pumpkins are out here now in October, November, and December. But they just didn't happen. And I'll go through this in a hurry. These pumpkins that are out here right now that were displayed in September and August, the plan started way back, all the way back to April and March and January. People were making plans to make sure those pumpkins were in the field, that they were growing, that they were fertilized. When it was time to deliver them, exactly what dates they needed to pick up. A lot of people had to have their hand in the glove, probably 25 or 30, for those pumpkins to be ready for you to sell. And that's true with everything, not only just pumpkins, but there's a supply line, a supply chain. We've heard that term used the last few years. And we have to know that for something to be in our presence today, a lot of people several months ago or even a year ago started that process working. And when you understand that about what you're selling or bringing to your customer, it gives you a deepened ability to relate to how to make it work for you, not just to assume that it's going to be here when you need it, because it may not be. And that process that it went through to get to you may be a place that you can go back and pick up some slack and make some more money. Those pumpkins sold for $10 a piece. And people that bought them, they were probably trying to make about $6.42 on them. Pretty good profit. But when they took all their cost out of it and the taxes and all the other factors and such as that, they ended up with $1.65. It doesn't sound like much money, does it? No. And so I'll say to you that in your business, depending on what you're selling, volume and turnovers will be so important, because maybe the margin per item is very slow, but the key is to sell thousands of them or hundreds of them to help you end up with some money. So this process with someone selling 2,000 pumpkins, the way they were going to buy them, they were going to end up making $4,600, but they had to sell 2,000 of them. Okay, so planning was the key for them ending up with a decent amount of money, and the planning is very important all the way back. But when you look at that planning process, it will show you places that you were taking risk that maybe you can remedy, and this scale did that. So if that salesperson was able to just reduce the spoilage from 20% to 10%, they'd be able to increase their products and almost double it up to $7,200. Changing some little things made the difference in him making $4,600 versus $7,200. What does this mean to you, Evelyn, Sarita? It means that let's look at what we're doing, analyze it, forecast where this money is going, and see if there are places that we can improve our situation by spending a little bit of time or money or energy to help us make a lot more gross profit at the end of the day. And that's what forecast can do for you. The mindset, which I used that word earlier tonight, is one that we need to kind of adopt. Some folks will tell me as they're getting started in business that, Steve, I don't really like to negotiate. I don't like to haggle or bargain with people. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. Well, you got to get over that. You got to start feeling very comfortable with it, because it is the way that more profits are made and more win-win situations are achieved, more than just take it or leave it selling. The bargaining and negotiating mindset means that you are open to creating relationships with customers that will last year after year and sales after sales. So it is very worthy for you to think about. I feel good about this. I feel good about talking with people, but you have to structure your pricing in such a way to help that happen. If you've got your prices down so low that all you can do is say take it or leave it, then you're in a disadvantaged place. So let's think about this a little bit. A bargaining and negotiating mindset can help you be more persuasive in negotiations by assuming that you already have a deal and focus on the details. This helps me a lot, and I want to share with you, David, just to help you and Evelyn and Mary as well. If you have the confidence with your forecast and negotiation ability, and you've thought it through and you've had some experience behind you, you will enter into the negotiation with the customer feeling like, hey, I'm going to get this deal. It's good. I know what I'm doing. I know I got a good price, and I'm convinced that I can share this information with my customer and end up with a deal. An example of that, if you're in the internet business like I am, when I first got started, I'd probably send out 100 quotations, 100 quotations, which takes a lot of time and energy. We have to figure out the prices and the shipping cost, put all the specs and photos in those quotes and such, and email them. Well, at first, 25, 30 years ago, for 100 quotations, I might get 5 deals out of it. I might get five good deals. And of those 5, I probably had to talk with the customers at least 20 times. So a lot of time and energy spent that wasn't making me any money. But in hindsight now, I know that wasn't making money then, but I was gaining experience. And finally, I got to saving the information and making it work, where that now in my quotations, if I send out 100 quotations in the next month or so, my experience in the last 3 years is that I will probably get 30 deals out of it. 30. And down the road, some of those other 70 folks may come back and give me a chance to do business with them. But getting 30 deals instead of 5 is a big difference. And it gets right back to having the mindset, I am sending a quotation out that is attractive, and if I present it right, I can probably get the deal from the customer. There's a lot of little tips to how to get there, and I'm glad to share those with you in our marketing programs. But build yourself up to where when you talk with someone, you have a positive attitude and be able to talk to them about your product and tell them about your experience and how many happy customers you've got. And indeed, that feeling that you've already got the deal, that you got to feel good about getting it, will go a long way to helping that customer find more confidence in you to do it. Be adaptable and open to your approach. Always be curious and listen. Listen to what that customer has on their mind. You have to listen to them. And we need to be confident to make this happen. You have forecasted what they're looking for, and you're building in the skills to help you negotiate the very best. We've always got to be respectful. We've got to separate the person from the problem and let them know that you're on their side trying to find a solution that works for them, and find out what they actually really want to happen, and then figure out a way that you can make that do it. This is a mindset that will work for you. So save this when you look at these slides tomorrow, when you're looking at the video I'll send to you. Save these screenshots, write them down, look at your handouts. This is like reading the Bible from a sales manual. It's very, very important that you maintain that mindset. You help generate options for your customers, and you help find the best solutions and criteria. And they know that's what you're trying to do. Hopefully y'all know that's what I'm trying to do tonight for you, is help you find the ways to improve your business. And then we practice. We have to practice all the time and know that the practice makes perfect. There's no doubt about it. And let me share with you, remember it was only 30 out of 100. That means there was 70 rejections even in my life. So I appreciate the fact that people are telling me no. Even though I thought I was probably going to get the deal or I had a good chance, when they don't buy from me, I'm getting a no answer. That doesn't mean they have become my enemy. That does mean that I appreciate the fact of the opportunity to work with them. I don't include their names in my database so I can stay in touch with them and keep reminding them that I'm here and hungry and got good stuff. So keep these in mind. Now, I got this information. I thought it was so cool the way they had it advertised. I found this on the internet, and I gave you the link to it on Google. This is good stuff, and it's well summarized. So I'd suggest that you make a copy of it and refer to it often. Very good stuff. The challenge, of course, is how can we close more good deals? How can we close more good deals and feel good about what we're doing? And there's a simple answer to it. Sarita and Mary, there is a simple answer to closing more good deals. And the answer is the 2 words: extreme preparation. Being prepared, forecasting the deals coming your way, and being prepared for it is the way that you end up with a good deal for you. We can focus on how to close that deal. We focus forecasting of the flow of events, thinking in our mind, okay, where's the starting point and what's going to happen, and then outlining that, making notes 1, 2, 3, 4 as to how the bidding, the back and forth will probably go. Now, this is going to give you insight into, if I offer one thing, there's a good chance that customer will offer something else. If I start out too high or too low, I may not be able to get to the point that I want to get to. So that's what this is all about tonight. So let's have some fun now. Let's have some fun. do a little buying exercise. Everybody ready for for thinking about this? So get your pencil and paper out, maybe. So we don't have a buying offer. You want to buy something, and they're offering you, or they're asking $80,000. Let's say you're buying a camper, buying a camper for $80,000, or that's what they want for it. But you don't have but $70,000. Does that mean you just need to run away and not even make an offer? Listen to me right now. No. This is where we break the chain of old thinking for entrepreneurs. Just because someone's asking $80,000 doesn't mean that they can't take $30,000 for it. A good entrepreneur, a good selling is always going to mark their product up to give them a negotiating run and may be able to knock a home run. But in no way should it keep you from at least making the offer and trying to buy this thing if you think it's good for you or good for your business, that you can buy it at a lower price and sell it later. But you can't spend but $70,000. So my question to you is, if you can't spend but $70,000, how much should you offer? How much should you offer? Let's see what you type in over there before I go to the next slide. They're asking 80, but you can't spend the 70. Well, Corey says 50. Let's take a look at that. Evelyn says 47.9. All right. Now, there's no right or wrong or black and white answers here, because in the negotiating process, we all just have to think with the information that's available to us. So your offer should, I'm suggesting your offer should be $50,000, just like Corey had written down, because the next logical offer, they would come down to 70 maybe, and then you might kick it back up to 60, and that leaves you room to negotiate. But they started up high enough to have a negotiating room like I'm going to ask y'all to do when you're selling. So the best way that you're able to sell your items for the product for the price you really needed is to have it marked up high enough to give room to negotiation. And that also now is bringing into plain sight here to you as a business person. Yes, they have marked their products up so they can negotiate, which means you want to negotiate. It's something you want to do. Now, if they don't want to, that's up to them. But most people that's in business are looking forward to getting an offer. I live to get offers. You will live to get offers at some point in time. So they offered, your counter is 50. Then they came down, hopefully, thinking ahead, they'll come down maybe to 70, and then you can go up to 60, and that leaves you room to bargain so that you can buy this thing for 70 grand. The key is your first offer was low enough to give you a chance to buy it for actually what your target is. That's the lesson to be learned here. So you want, let's see here. They are offering $16,000, and you're selling something now. You're selling something for $18,500. You want at least $18,500 for it, and they've offered $16,000. So thinking about this now, this is a different situation. How would you approach this? What would be your first offer? You need $18,500, but they've only offered $16,000. What would you offer back to them? What would you offer back to them? So Corey May says maybe 20. That's good thinking, Corey. I like the way you're thinking. Anybody else got something you want to suggest? Let's see what suggestion I might have. Okay, I suggest that if they offered 16 and you needed 18.5, and I had a chance to put the pencil to it, I think I'd come back at 22,000. I think I'd come back at 22,000. And my thinking is that you want them to come up to at least 2,500 to 18.5. So we need to set our price high enough above where they are to get that counter offer for them, so that maybe we can split the difference at 19,000. The thinking here is not exactly which number is right or wrong, but the thinking is make your counter high enough that their next offer will give you room to make another move to end up where you need to be. Okay? Thank you very much for your participation. I hope you're getting the gist of this. Test move strategies. When we're negotiating, it's a lot like a chess or a checker game, because the move that you make or the counter offer that you make doesn't need to be based on I'm just doing this for right now and that's the end of the game. No, your counter offers need to be based on if I do this now, they will probably do that, and then that'll give me the option for the next offer or the checkmate or the closing the deal. Think like that. Let that be your mindset. Hey, Kayla, welcome. Glad to have you with us tonight. So let's sell some automobiles, okay? Let's find the perfect way for you to end up with the right car in your selection for sure. Your lowest sale price, you're selling a car, your lowest sale price is $13,000, $13K. Now, information that's important, the Blue Book value on this vehicle is $12K, $12,000. So, and usually the Blue Book value is the fair market value. That's what we're going to consider here. You want to put an advertised sale price here of $17,000, even though you can sell it for $13,000. You want to leave yourself plenty of negotiating room. You're well above fair market value. You know that. You feel like your vehicle is in excellent shape. But are you embarrassed to put a $17,000 price on something that has a Blue Book value of $12,000? No. You're a business person. It is your job. It is your duty. It is your responsibility to price items high enough to give you a chance to make some profit and even make a deal. Because if you don't price it high enough when the negotiation starts, you won't have the wiggle room to get to where you need to be. So let's say that we've done this now. We've got this process started. The first offer from the buyer came in at $11,000. Was that a ridiculously low offer? No. It was a good offer because he's offering you a price that's $1,000 below fair market value, which is reasonable. I'd suggest you do that. And your counter offer, though, you don't need to counter them in such a way to leave you room to end up where you need to be. So your counter offer would be $16,000. Okay? So they'll come up another $500 to $11,500. That's reasonable. They're still below fair market value. And your second offer is you're coming down $500. You see how this is going and coming? You thought it in advance. So now they have room to make you an offer for $13,500, and you were going to be happy at $12,000. And you can close the deal maybe even for more than you would hope for. That's the reason we're talking about this tonight. So that as you're buying and selling, to understand this logic and forecast how a negotiation will go. So over in the chat board right now, I'm going to ask you an important question that you probably hadn't ever thought of before. But having this mindset will help you so much. The question is, can you forecast how a negotiation will go? Can you forecast how a negotiation will go? It's a simple yes or no question. What is the answer? Type it in for me. Corey's saying yes. How about the rest of you? Give me a hint. David, yes. Can you forecast how a negotiation will go? And the answer is yes. And know that, and don't be afraid to negotiate. Don't be afraid to make a low offer so that you can come up a little bit and maybe stay within your budget. You have to go for it. When you're buying things to resell, when you're buying things for your family, for your home, for your business, make sure you give yourself negotiating room to make it work. So let's get into real estate now. Let's look at some larger numbers, things that are very, very important. And in real estate, there's more factors, even though they mean about the same. So let's have some fun with this. You're selling a property and you need $80,000 for it. That's your bottom line. Even though the tax listing is $97,000, you're in a good position here. And know that lots of times people who might be able to feel really good about selling something for $80,000 because the tax listing or the fair market value is much higher, they'll go after 107,000, just like I'm encouraging you to do. And my friends, remember this. Some people will pay that high price and feel really good about it. Items are worth what someone's willing to pay for them, and every buyer has different perspectives. So you might have been able to put, since the tax listing was $97,000 there, you might have been able to move it up even higher than 107. But in this situation, that's what I'm suggesting. If we do that, that first offer from a buyer is probably going to be $72,000 range. In other words, they're going to come in about $20,000 below fair market value. On items like that, just expect low offers from experienced shoppers. And it's perfectly okay. Don't be mad at them. They're not going to be embarrassed to make you a low offer, and you shouldn't be embarrassed that they did. They're not trying to devalue what you've got to sell. They're just trying to get a good deal. That's okay. So in your counter would be $99,000. $99,000. You still you came down what, $8,000 from your asking price. If you do that, they would probably bump their offer up to $80,000. In other words, they would go up $8,000. And your second counter offer could be $91,000. In other words, you came down another $8,000. And the final offer from that buyer in that negotiating range would probably be $85,500. $5,000 above that's what you needed, and you can close your deal and be happy. You planned ahead. You thought this through. You've given yourself a chance to get the money you needed. You did that by pricing it, number one, to begin with, high enough to give you good negotiating room with good reasoning. Now let's look at another thing, some general information. We got some a property that we want to sell, and the tax value on it is $158,000. Everybody with me? $158,000. You owe $80,000 on it, and you want to sell it. Your bottom line is $165,000. Okay, 165 is what you can sell it for. Remember, tax value is 158. You owe 80,000 on it, and your bottom dollar is 165. With me so far? All right. Recently, you paid to add a new kitchen and a new den. You did some major work and spent $30,000 cash on that house. Put some new shingles on it for another $8,000, and you added a swimming pool for $20,000. So you've invested $58,000 in that recently cash money. Some of these are good investments. Some of them people would question. Like a family that was really wanted a swimming pool, $20,000 additional investment is just fine. But there's a lot of people out here in the world that would just want to fill that up with dirt so they wouldn't have to keep up with the maintenance on the pool. Maybe they're not into swimming or sunbathing. So as we're making investments in items that we're planning on selling, we have to give that some consideration. Now, if this swimming pool was down at the beach at a resort area where most of the houses in the neighborhood had swimming pools, maybe that was a great investment. But maybe if it was out in the farm country where it was mainly just elderly farmers, that they don't want anything to do with a swimming pool unless their grandkids are coming around often. We have to give those things consideration. So recently in the same neighborhood with houses equipped similarly, houses sold for $148,000, $168,000, $153,000, and $163,000. Similar houses, similar sizes. These are called the comps, the comparisons. And comparisons always play in when you're bidding or you're negotiating. You want to know what plan B might be. I can go buy this somewhere else for a certain amount of money, so that's going to have something to do with how I negotiate on this. Always keep that in mind. Comparisons are important in real estate and in other items as well. So now my question to you is, and get ready to type in, you ready? Are you upside down on this property? Do you know what upside down means? Are you upside down on this property? Yes or no? How about giving me some answers? Here we go. Let's get it. Yes or no? Are you upside down on this property? Upside down means that you owe more money on it than it's worth. So the answer is no. If you remember earlier, we said that you didn't know, I think it was $60,000. So you're not upside down, and that's a good thing. What is the fair market value of this property? What is the fair market value? And remember, in real estate, usually your tax listing is the fair market value. Y'all remember what that is? Let's go back and look. Tax value is $158,000. So that's what you would put, and you owed $80,000. So what is the fair market value here? $158,000. The questions are now, what should your advertised price be? What do you think your first counter offer would be? Second counter. What would the buyer's second counter be? Let's think about that fair market estimate. Remember, that's $158K. And the buyer's first options to start negotiating. This is the type of form that you would fill out when you're getting ready to buy or sell an item, especially a piece of real estate or a very expensive item. List it down. What are they asking for it? How do these offers go? Here you are forecasting how the negotiation would go. I would suggest that the lines would look kind of like this. The fair market value was $158. The advertised price, let's put it at $179. I would think that your first counter offer might be $170,000, and their counter offer would be $158, and then their counter would be $151. They would then come up to $160 when you said $165, and then that gives you room to find common ground right at $160, right? Let's see how that went. That's right. So you would be able to do that. But the key here that I'm just suggesting to all of you is map it out. Think about it well in advance and sleep on it even. Maybe even talk to someone else. How would you do this? Because we're going to be dealing with big bucks here. And these types of dollars are very important, and they can be just as flexible as where you end up based on what you are offering. And it's just not a feel-good thing. Now, the negotiations I've been involved in the last 6 months, really the last 4 days, more importantly, followed a line just like this with similar values. So, and it exactly went the way that I'm describing here. But you have to give the other side room to wiggle, reasoning such as that, and plan it out. You're not going to end up exactly on the money, but you'll have a chance of getting real close to where you need to be. What are the lessons that we learn? Professional will always build in room to negotiate. And you always want to negotiate for the best deal you can get. Even if you've come along to a place that you're comfortable and the negotiations are going good, just because you've reached the spot that you had targeted, if you feel like there's room for more, ask for it. You owe it to yourself. So you don't be so rigid that all right, I got what I was asking for, so I'm going to do this deal now. If the flow, if your mindset is telling you, I think I need to make another counter and see if I can get a little bit more. Or I think I need to make another counter and see if I can get them to come down a little bit more. That's the business. That's what we do in business. Now, the most common mistake that entrepreneurs make is pricing their products and items too low. You can always go up. I mean, you can always come down. You can't go up when you're pricing. And always remember to have a plan B. You know where you can go buy something. But this whole lesson is about having extreme preparation. And negotiation is helping you improve your game. Drill skill 36. If you hope to succeed as a negotiator, what must you do? What must you do? And the answer is be focused with extreme preparation, as we've been talking about earlier tonight. It'll make a world of difference for you. So on the preparation, know how important it is to have your target goals. Know that as you're entering into a negotiation, introductions are very important. Remember that you want the other side, your negotiating partners, to think that you're very confident and you're all going to end up with a win-win situation. If you think that there's a deal getting ready to happen, there's a good chance they will too. If you're very negative or anxious or scared, that just sets the wrong room. It just sets everything wrong. Have your paperwork and your presentation a work of art. Don't just have things scribbled down. Type it out. Anything that you want to use, and frequently asked questions, they help a lot. And you know what questions people are going to ask you, so go ahead and write that question down with a good answer that will give you a lot of confidence and give them a lot of confidence in you as well. Just as we've done with our exercise, set your bargaining ranges, have a roadmap of how they're going to go back and forth, and remember that you have secret weapons. And this is another important fact that only experienced negotiators have. Your secret weapons are the value-added features that you're bringing to the table that other people are not. The value-added features are the little things like in the house, landscape or paved driveways or a new roof or this or that. Think about what you can say, the extras that you've got that those competitions do not have. Reasons that people would love it because you've got a gas logs in the bathroom and in the bedrooms. The little things that you talk about, the things that you're selling, the value-added features, delivery, assembly, low deposits, layaway plans. You think about those in advance so that when it's time to close that deal, you can do that. Remember, you can end up with 15 to 25% more money in your pocket with good negotiating plans such as that. You can be a successful negotiator. Now let's talk about the fundamentals of negotiating. We've been talking about forecasting mostly. Now let's pull it back to negotiating now. The fundamental items that will always be the same, have always been the same in negotiating that we need to remember. And if you're going into a negotiation, you may want to pull this out and study it. Smile frequently. Make them like you. The people don't do business with folks they do not like. Don't give up anything unless you get something in return. Be smart about your negotiating, and I'll keep a balance here. You just don't give away stuff. And when you can get the other side to start giving you concessions when it didn't cost you anything, then your experience and your skills are paying off for you. Have the other side make the first real offer. That gives you a better feeling to how to plan your approach, and that helps you also if you don't have them make the first offer for you to have that. If you're selling, have that advertised price really good and high, so that their first offer get things rolling and still give you plenty of room to work through it. Stay focused. Don't forget that you can go here and buy something, or you can go there and buy something. Always keep in mind that you don't need to take advantage of this deal right now if you've got another deal that's better or close. The message here is keep negotiation, keep talking. And one of the things that goes so far and amazes me all the time is that the easiest and the best negotiating price is for you to simply say, or skill, is for you to simply say when you get started in a negotiation, is to look them right straight now and say, now, listen, I don't have a lot of time. I'm a busy fella. I don't want to waste your time. So just go, is this your best price? Let's just go ahead and give me your best price. Well, hopefully they've jacked it up, they've raised it up to give them room to negotiate. And if they're not really experienced and you give them that pressure, you press that button because maybe they don't feel comfortable negotiating either, and you come out with something like, oh, come on, man, I know you can do a lot better than this, so let's just cut to the chase. Give me that best price. I call that the poor mouthing effect. And that is getting the best price up front before you even start negotiating. So I call that my Sampson County farmers negotiating skill because they've used it on me for so many years. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed to be a poor mouthing negotiator. That is just to say, tell me, come on, man, I don't have any money to spare. Give me that best price. It's a good thing to do and one that's well used. Do your best to find middle ground. One way or the other, negotiating is bringing two people together. Remember that they are not your enemy. The people you're making a sale to are your negotiating partners, people you want to do business with year after year and lots of time. So you maintain that win-win objective and let them know that. Say, look here, I'm hoping that we both can do a deal that we both feel good about and have a win-win sale. Keep saying that. Win-win makes them want you to do well too, and they want to do well too. It kind of takes the fire out of it, using that term. Yes, if and no but negotiating is a way that to keep the conversation going. Lots of times people just get hung up on that bottom dollar cash price, love of that almighty dollar, and forget about all the other things that are important in negotiating. Delivery, deposits, interest rates, color, features, value-added items. You want to keep talking and keep trying to find common ground. Otherwise, you're just going to be able to say, take it or leave it. And when you say take it or leave it, you need to know right now that there's an excellent chance, an 80% chance, that they're going to walk away and go look for a better deal. You might get another chance at it, but you might not. So do your best to avoid saying take it or leave it, but let's keep talking and find a deal. And yes, if, no but helps you do that. So what's an example of that? Let's say that someone says, Steve, I'd like to give you $2,000 for this thing. And I would respond back and say, yes, I can sell it to you for $2,000 if I don't have to add this or that to it, like we've talked about. Yes, if. Have a way to keep the conversation going without you taking the offer, but you use the word yes. Or you might say, no, can't take $2,000, but I can take $2,100. See what I'm saying? You're saying yes and if, and then following up in a way to keep the conversation going. When you become the pro at keeping the conversation going, finding the ways to find common ground, that's when your closing process will start going way up, because you've become skilled at negotiating and not saying take it or leave it. Work on terms. Work on the best terms for your customer. That means deposits, payment plans, warranties. Lots of situations will play into the deal instead of just a bottom dollar cash price. Maybe you don't have any room to wiggle on the pricing, but it's got lots of flexibility on the other factors. Understand deposits, because they can be very important to you. Maybe you can close the deal by getting the deposit, but you need to know that if you take deposits, there are a lot of different kinds. Some deposits you have to pay interest on, some deposits you don't. Some deposits are non-refundable, which is an important closing factor. Some deposits are refundable. And unless you discuss them, then you're leaving the other side open to have their opinion about what you said, and it may be totally different than what you thought was being implied. So talk about them and what these particulars are when it comes to deposits on deals. There's 23 negotiation tactics employees that are used all over the world in all the business schools in the whole world. 23 of them. They've been around for a long time. Some are new and informal, which I'll talk about. And there's basically 23 of them, which are in your handouts and in your study guides. We're going to talk about a few tonight, not all of them, but we'll cover them pretty quickly. But remember, if you're going out to buy something, find that product where you can buy it at what you think is a reasonable price, and you remember that. And then the professional negotiator, from that point, will start work. You're going out to find that better product at a better price than what you already know you can buy. That's the reason you're negotiating, is to lower your cost if you're buying or raise your profits if you're selling. Have a plan B, and that is the starting place where you're negotiating. Tactics employees, flinching. Flinching's important. That's when old Fred Sanford used to say, oh, I have a heart attack. You made me an offer and just giving me a heart attack. That's showing a physical problem. It doesn't cost you a penny, and it's very, very effective. Ladies can do this so effectively by putting their hands up by their glasses or their temples, or just cringing up, balling up in a ball, or twisting around in the chair. Don't say anything. Just send that nonverbal message that I don't like what you just said, and don't say anything. Just continue that. And the inexperienced negotiator will say, well, I'm sorry, I can do a little better. I can make it feel a little better. That's exactly what you wanted, because you're getting a concession that didn't cost you a penny, and it's a good ploy to do. The experienced negotiator would say to you, oh, that's a good flinch you're using on me. I've seen people do that before. So when you get to feeling better, let's get back and see if we can close this deal. So when you recognize that someone is using negotiating ploys or tactics on you, right out of the book, like I'm talking about them right here, when you recognize that they are playing by the book of rules here, then what you want to do is to put oil on the water and simply say, oh man, you're doing some good negotiating skills on me here. I like what you're doing there. So let's move on here and do some real stuff. And then you know what? They will respect you more. You've done this in a positive way, and let them know that you recognize what they're doing. They'll see that you're skilled, and the chances for negotiation will be a lot better because you want to use those words. Now, look, I know you're not my enemy here. We're negotiating partners for a win-win solution. So let's get back to the basics. That'll help you out a lot. Ploy of silence. Someone makes you an offer, you just look at them like they're crazy as bats, and you just look at them, don't say anything, maybe shake your head like, whoa, that's so crazy. But don't say anything. And again, that negotiating partner on the other side of the table may say, what can I say? What are you going to do? Do you want me to lower the price? Or how about if I do it for this amount of money? Folks get excited and nervous and will lower their offers immediately. You're making money. It's a good thing to do. It didn't cost you a penny. Good cop, bad cop. If you have a partner you're negotiating with, two people against one, you set it up to begin with that one of you is going to be their friend, the other is going to be try to tank the deal. And between the two of them is three people in there, and you don't have this person across the table from you trying to satisfy one person and get the other person to hush or to change their attitude. In other words, they're at the disadvantage because they got two partners working against them. So good cop, bad cop really works. If you're on the side of the table that's having to deal with it, then you basically want to signal which one that you is after the deal. And just in the nicest way possible, you just start focusing your attention to the person with the positive attitude. You can't, if they're doing a ploy on you, just accept it's the way it's going to go and go for the person with the positive attitude, and you will end up with both of them coming around. They can play it to the hilt, to the end, but you keep focusing on the person that wants to do business. Fate accomplished or threat disguised as a worldwide use thing, and that's a way of negotiating where it basically you plant a lot of drama into this. This is a big deal that if you don't do this, this major happening will come across. It's just putting drama into it. Some folks do this with big sales with multinational companies and things like that. So very seldom does it come to play in local negotiating, but it's still one of the ploys that are important. Divide and conquer, the ploy is called the Brooklyn optician. That is when you have those two people there and one's talking yes and one's talking no, you'll work in such ways to give one side some reasons to go forward and the other side some other reasons to go forward so that they become to your side, but they're maybe for different reasons. It's a pretty difficult thing to do, but in really large negotiations, it's used quite often. Now, this is the thing that during the last 3 years has been used by everybody in business, and that is, look, we need to do business because there's a pending price increase. And Lord have mercy, is that a big deal now that President Trump is talking about adding tariffs to everything that's imported. Pretty much everything I sell is imported. So I have already started my marketing campaign to include these words. Come on, let's do the deal now before the tariffs go in effect. Very effective, and I'm seeing some customers respond to that. So pending price increasing is a real good negotiating ploy to do. Noah's Ark is the ploy where basically that you say, look, there are so many other people on the internet selling exactly what you've got. I can buy this thing from anywhere else, everywhere. I mean, the world is full of people selling what you've got. So you're just going to have to give me a better deal. Because you've got so much competition out there, and I've done my homework. That's effective negotiating, which means you have to be aware and be prepared as you're going in there to know what your competition is up to. And maybe they've got lower prices than you've got. Maybe they're playing cheap, 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 and you have to immediately be able to give them your value-added features as to why they should pay you more money, why it's a better deal for them to do business with you. Maybe your part support, maybe your warranty, maybe you've got a better quality product. Maybe your item is not made in Japan, but made in Italy. I mean, or not made in China, but made in Italy. You have to do your homework in advance. Again, total preparation, and having a plan B for them. If this particular product is getting eaten alive by the competition, be ready to bring in a plan B for them and sell them something else. Pay in advance, or sometimes called the call girl negotiating ploy, is maybe you're going to close the deal and someone has really offered you something that's close and you're thinking about taking it. And if they want this deal now, you got to pay up front. Maybe it's something that's going to be ordered or special handled for them, or you've got a feeling that they're just negotiating, trying to get you to come to a price, but they're not going to back it up. You're always in good, firm shape by saying, now I'm hearing you say you're ready to buy this at a certain price. Pay me. Let's do it. So don't be afraid to call their hand on that. If they're within your negotiating room and your plan, and they're at a price that you feel like that they're saying that here's the cash, take it or leave it, then you close your deal right now and get your check or get your cash. Okay? Be ready to do that. Some people will say, if you don't buy from me, I don't give you bad publicity. Or, Steve, you really need to make this sale so you'll have a Kubota tractor out here in this neighborhood. Otherwise, it's going to be all John Deere's, but you got a chance to send a good Kubota out here and turn things around. If you can't do this deal with me, you're going to get bad publicity because you're not going to get good publicity. Using bad publicity is a definite marketing tool that some folks use, different situations. Just be able to recognize it, know that it can be coming, and have your counter offers ready. Sometimes you can't do a thing about it. It's a good marketing tool, and you just have to be prepared to come back with whatever can suit you best to help you close your deal. Testing the waters with a trial balloon, or called hypothetical offers, are excellent negotiating tools. Especially if you're dealing with big ticket items, you may not be ready to make an offer, a firm offer, and write a check for it, but there's nothing that keeps you from saying, look, let's talk hypothetical. If someone was to offer you $4,200 for this item, would you consider going in and taking it? And then they're going to say, are you making that offer? And you say, no, this is hypothetical. That's a good way of getting a read from the other side. Don't be afraid to do that. It's perfectly legal and it's good. It's good faith. However, the person on the other side of the table would say, well, thank you for that hypothetical offer. And so let me ask you, if the people that you made that to made you a hypothetical offer of $4,600, you reckon you can go ahead and take that? You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to find a way, using the same tool they use, to find common ground. You think about it in advance and give yourself some reason to come back. It's not hard to do. Okay, end run. An end run is when two people are negotiating on something and one person decides we're not getting where I want to get, so I don't make an end run. In other words, I don't put some other factors together here and bundle it and make a package deal offer to see if I can get what I want at the price I need it at, or maybe a little more, provided they give me a discount on some other items. So at the end of the day, they have sold you a product and made profit on it, but they've also given you some items they didn't make any profit on. On your side of the fence, you have gotten the item that you wanted, that you paid a little bit more for it, but you got some other items that you really needed at a great price. That is called an end run, or do some surprise bundling. Oftentimes that'll catch someone by surprise and they'll move on it. Or other times it will say, you know, I ought to do this. I'm making that profit that I needed on what I was mainly selling and putting some other items in there that I'm not making any profit on. But at the bottom line, I'm still making that profit I needed starting out. And you've got the same reasons to close the deal too. That is a good deal. And so in today's world, they call it bundling more than anything else. I do this a lot in my business, and it helps motivate people to buy when maybe they just want to buy one item, but they end up buying 4 or 5 items at a good deal. I'll make good profit on 1 or 2 and throw the others in at my cost. Bottom line is I make good profit on 1 or 2 items. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made anything. So that's logic thinking, logic negotiating. Bait and switch has kind of a negative connotation in the unexperienced world of people buying and selling things. Bait and switch is a good marketing tool, and unscrupulous people might be able to use that and with false advertising and or phony claims and such as that to give it a bad way of thinking. But I want you to think that bait and switch is a good marketing tool, an honest marketing tool, and one that's very, very effective. Bait and switch is saying you catch someone's attention with a low price on a certain item. And maybe that low price is a stripped down model, or maybe it doesn't have many extras with it, or maybe it's from a cheap manufacturer, but it's a rocking chair or it's a recliner and it's got a good price on it. And you have bought them and you've got them in stock. You've got it there for the customer to come and buy it for exactly what you've got it advertised for. But when they get there and they see this is exactly what you've advertised and I want to buy it, it's a good deal. But when they get there, they see this nicer rocking chair beside it, or one even nicer than that, or maybe one with a lot more features to it. And this is when you're saying, and by the way, I've also got this model and this model and this model that you might want to consider. You have baited and switched, but what you've basically done is set the stage merchandising for upsells. And that is as good as it gets. That's a good business thing to do. So I want you to remember that. Bait and switch is a very effective way to end up with upsells. So even though that the term bait and switch may have long-term negative reputations in the world of the inexperienced, indeed it will help you sell. And I suggest that you use it every chance you get if it's a good marketing tool for you. The red herring, I heard several people mention that on TV this past week about negotiating. Red herring is when you get someone to focus on the good stuff that you're selling and make sure that you're hiding or you don't mention the things that aren't so good. You're trying to direct attention to items that will help you sell your product and help the customer not see reasons they might not want to buy. That's human nature. Know that it's going to happen when you're buying and when you're selling. But here's the lesson to learn here. Don't be to the point that you're going, when the customer sees or finds out what you're hiding, that they're going to be really disappointed and not do business with you again. Red herring selling can get you in trouble. If you're buying, red herring teaches us a lesson to not take for granted that everything that's being said to you is the whole story. Maybe that salesman's not lying to you, but there's a good chance he's not telling you everything you need to know. So if you're not familiar with a certain product, then bring somebody with you that is to can help you evaluate it so that you're not burned with a red herring situation. This also is a good reason for you to consider establishing good relationships with your vendors and suppliers so you don't have to worry about red herring salespeople, people setting you up for a fall. Some customers will come in and just act like they're so mad because they can't get the deal, or they'll say you baiting and switching and blow up and act really mad. Most of the time, that's just a negotiating tool with them. Now, of course, if they're drinking or something like that, it may be that it's just bad behavior. But sometimes customers will act mad in just a simple effort to put you at a disadvantage and get you to give them a discount. Just know that happens with some folks and be ready to deal with it. Faking. Some folks will pretend to be someone else. Some folks will pretend that they can afford to buy something that they can't, and they'll set up a series of statements or an environment that makes you think you're dealing with someone that can pay a big price, and then they got all kinds of reasons why you need to give them big discounts. Because, hey, give me a good deal on this and I'll help you sell 25 more in my neighborhood, that kind of thing. Watch out for people fake. Be cool, be calm, be nice. This is a potential long-term customer. The sooner you can read through their negotiating ploys and use yours, the better off you're going to be. Knowledge is power, and referring to the higher authority is a tool that's used oftentimes with all kinds of sales. That's someone that's going to come in and talk to you about buying something, but as soon as you get ready to close the deal, they're going to say, you know, I don't have the authority to buy this. I need to go talk to my wife or to my daddy or to my boss or to my bank. They're resorting to higher authority. You have already negotiated down to your bottom line. And the whole thing about going to a higher authority will always be they will leave and they will come back. They maybe did or didn't talk to anybody else. But when they come back, they're always going to make you a lower offer, an offer below what you thought you were going to deal with. So a rule always that when you're entering into a serious negotiation with something that's got good value to it, it's a perfectly good thing for you to say, I've come here today with my trading pants on and I'm ready to do business. Now, if we can find common ground on a price, can you close the deal today? Ask that question. And folks will normally give you a truthful answer. Then they may say, well, I can bargain with you, but I have to take that offer back to someone else, and I'll be back with you tomorrow to see what it said. Fair enough. You know what you're up against. But now you know you need to leave yourself one more room to make a counter offer, because they're going to come back with a lower offer. So we get back to that planning that we've been doing the whole time with that roadmap of counter offers. If you know this in advance, then you don't have to go to your bottom line. You'll leave yourself one room in that counter offer. And indeed, maybe they'll come back and just pay you what you agreed on. But normally, if it's a big ticket item, they'll come back with a lower counter offer and you don't need room to wiggle. Some folks will say, I've enjoyed talking to you, Steve. I think we can do some business, but man, I just feel like I need to wait a week or two. It's a delaying tactic. And people will use that on you because what they're expecting you to do is say, well, let's go ahead and do business today and I'll knock off another $100 or I'll do this or that. Remember that it's all about doing that. Your answer does not need to come back with offering a lower deal. Your offer is to come back and say, the deal we've got before us right now is good today. I can't make any commitment on whether it'll be good tomorrow or later on because we got other shoppers for it or we got pending price increases. So don't let delaying tactics make you give up money. What you want to do is turn that around and encourage them to move forward. The most used tactic in the whole world is nibbling. That's when you thought you had a deal done and the buyer starts saying, now, didn't you include this? And this is included, right? And I want this and I want that. It's called nibbling. Keep adding little things on which are eating your profits up. And it's a good negotiating tool. I encourage you to use it as far as you can. You nibble as long as they're giving you stuff. But on the other side, if you're selling, how do you stop it? The first rule is when you make a deal is you write down the number that you've agreed on, draw a circle around it, and you put your initials there and say, now, how about initialing this before we start with the paperwork? And then the paperwork gets started and they start nibbling and you say, yes, if, or no, but. Yes, I can add that in the deal, but I need for you to cover my costs, which is a 30. In other words, there is no free ride here. You get something, you pay something. In lots of types of businesses, the most profit is made when the customers start nibbling. Construction contractors, remodeling contractors love it when customers come back and want to add this and want that. That's called the world of change orders. And usually you can make more profit on change orders than you can the original deal. So just keep that in mind, how to make that work to your advantage. Splitting the difference is a way that people find common ground. Let's meet halfway in the middle. There's several important ways to make this happen for you, but the key thing I want you to remember, when someone offers or mentions, let's split the difference, or can we meet in the middle, that is a real buying signal that they have determined they want this and they're ready to spend money. So you'll take that to your advantage. Splitting the difference can work with you 2 or 3 different ways as you grow in your strength in your sales. A new point that's kind of coming to the market, mainly in the real estate industry, is busting the bubble. That's when you have something out here that you're for sale and someone calls you up and says, look here, Steve, I've got a client that's interested in buying this thing you got for sale, but and what you got it offered at, they can't get there, and they want to see if you will even consider a much lower offer. They want to see if you will even consider a much lower offer. And here's the point I want to make to you. Yes, always say, sure, send the offers on in, because the negotiation doesn't start till someone makes an offer. And that offer may be very low, and they may think they're getting the best deal in the whole world, but it may be even higher than what you can sell it for. So always welcome an offer coming in and then go from there. Lastly, if you're in a position and you're negotiating to buy something, be ready to pull out the cash and put it out, or be ready to write a check and say, I'll buy it for this, here's the cash, you can take it, or I'll go down the street and give it to so-and-so. Be ready to do that. If you're going to play the game of show me the cash, or I'm going to, or that, when you make that offer, you make sure that you're willing to back it up. But make sure that you make that offer at a price much lower than where you're negotiating is at. In other words, you're making money. You're lowering the buying price that you want to buy it at, much lower than what their last offer was. So when you make this offer, be ready to close the deal and make sure you're getting a good deal. Now, most retailers, when someone says, here's this check, take it or leave it, if it's a unauthorized salesperson, they will say, you need to sit right here, let me go ask the boss. And they go ask the boss about that. And the bosses are interested in cash flow, just like you'll be. So there's a good chance, even though it's a much lower price than what they have been talking about, they'll take you up on it, because cash talks. And when I say cash, check is the same thing. But be ready to live up to what you're saying, because you don't get to play this card but one time with a vendor. Well, if you say, I'm ready to write you a check or pay you this amount of money with this thing, and they say, show me the cash, then you need to come up with it. Because in the future, they will not negotiate in good faith with you, because they say you're not a good faith negotiator. But it is a strong and powerful way to save some big money and get some good deals. Show me the cash. The quivering quill, the interesting name. The quivering quill is the way that when you are finding common ground with the person you're negotiating with, and you keep jiggling the bait, so to speak. The customer wants it, but you can't quite get him to buy it, and you will learn with a lot of experience how to make statements, how to use all these ploys to end up with what I call the quivering quill, which is a good recipe of putting it all together to end up with the negotiation that you need. Demanding extra concessions, but doing it in such a way as, hey, it's just part of the deal. You just need to do this, and it really makes good plans. Both sides like to use it, get a few extras, but all the time. That's why you need to have value-added items that you can put in there to satisfy that quivering quill tactic to make it work. The trial balloon, that's the sending up the hypothetical offer, and it's really it goes a long, long way. The 10 most active tactics employees: flinching, silence, pending price increase, end runs, bait and switch, nibbling, splitting the difference, finding common ground, show me the cash, and the trial balloon. All these are really, really important. The process is deep in the details. The situations and strategies change from time to time. Your study guides have a world of information about these, and the video I'm going to send to you tomorrow will include these slides that you can stop and take a look at them and maybe make notes if you'd like to. The next step is bargaining. Watch out for signs of deception. Look out for your buying signals. Always know to wrap it up quickly, and then just hush, close your deal, and get out of there. Celebrate out of sight. You want your customer to leave the negotiation feeling like they got the best deal and you told them that, so that they feel good about coming back to you and doing business. Let me say to you that it's been a pleasure to work with you tonight. I look forward to seeing you at the next events and next Thursday night and the night following. Work on your homework. Look forward to seeing that coming from you. So have a great weekend. Stay warm. God bless you and take care. Look forward to hearing from you. Have any comments? Turn your mics on and we'll talk about it. All right. David, Sarita, you betcha, David. You stay warm up there, and I hope your neighbors get along well. I know y'all got a lot to deal with in Weaverville and Marshall.
We're trying to get through it.
I understand. Our prayers are with you.
Okay.
Corey, it was mighty good to have you with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I'll try to help you any way in your business. Just let me know how we can do it. And Sarita, you take care. Look after that grandbaby. All right. We'll see you soon.
Okay. All right. Good night.
Good night. Take care.